Hello, and welcome to the Biomass Magazine podcast. I am your host, Anna Simet, and today I'm joined by Maura Ross, Wood Energy Coordinator at the Maryland Clean Energy Center. Maura, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here.
So, Maura, why don't you start by telling us and our listeners a little bit about your background and what you do at the center?
Yeah, sure. So a little bit about me. I graduated from Purdue University with a degree in energy engineering, and also from Butler University with environmental studies. So, I am extremely passionate about switching over to renewable energies and making sure we do it in a very equitable, just way. And what I do over at the center is I help, kind of the transition to wood energy over in Maryland. So this takes a few different forms of, going and talking to actual facility managers, hosting webinars for environmental groups, one-on-one conversations with environmental groups, and also reaching out to policymakers, and, listening to their concerns, seeing how we can fix that. So yeah, there's a lot of different aspects to it, and I love it. It's, very hands-on. So.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So we're here today to talk about what you guys are doing. Maryland right now is exploring opportunities to increase the usage of renewable wood energy in the state. Extremely timely considering rocketing energy costs right now. And the Western Maryland Resource Conservation and Development Council and you guys at the center have partnered to produce a wood energy fuel supply chain analysis. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this analysis and its goals?
Yeah, thank you. So the main goal of this project is to get a baseline on forest health, the wood energy potential, and the wood energy impacts that it could have on the state, both the benefits and if, we invest too heavily, if there are too many facilities that switch over, number one, what would that be? And what would the impact look like? So, we want to show from this report that forest health is our top priority. Second is the generating sustainable renewable energy through wood. But, that's going to come from the forest health. And they're both so important, especially at this climate crisis that we are, currently going through. Both forest health and renewable energy, they have to be at the forefront of everything. But, specifically in this project, we're going to be looking at forest health. And this is another reason is kind of to ease in, as I mentioned before, the environmental groups and the policymakers to give them confidence to invest in projects or, to incentivize or at least not de-incentivize wood energy systems. There are a lot of concerns from the policymakers, environmental groups, especially when it comes to any combustible fuel. Right. But having that kind of role in, not switching over to wood energy and only relying on solar and wind, which are very expensive and they're not very applicable to every situation. If there's a facility that has a very, very high thermal demand, unfortunately, they probably won't be able to produce that from just solar. And thermal solar, that is a very, very expensive system and is usually on the smaller scale. Mm-hmm. So making sure that, they have confidence going into having these wood energy systems and looking at the long-term impacts of wood energy on the forest health. Mm-hmm. That is, that can be a huge game changer for biomass. And why this is so timely, why we really need this right now is because we had a large paper mill shut down in 2019, the Luke paper mill. And unfortunately, we lost a ton of jobs. And our forest, there was a lot of fuel grade wood that is not being used for paper anymore. And it's just lying on the forest floor. And we're already seeing the impacts of high grading just within those few years. So making sure that that wood has a place to go, to make sure that our forests are resistant against high grading, and they're able to be sustainably managed, and that wood is not just going to a landfill. We want to make sure that it has a productive use, and the emissions, that the very small emissions that it makes is going to be from generating heat rather than landfill gas. So
yeah. So you've talked a little bit about the benefits, and what about the benefits to you talked about forest health and putting that wood to good use. What about the benefits to the homeowners or the people interested in using wood?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, since it's going to be locally sourced, it's going to be a lot more affordable. It's going to have a more steady price, which is, in this day and age, that is extremely, extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely from a personal economic impact, but if it's locally sourced, that money is going to stay within the community, which is also very important. And then let's see, it's going to be reduced cost. And, a lot of facilities, they're just going to be looking at the bottom line. There are a lot of facilities, specifically universities, that have, green goals or sustainability goals where they want to cut their carbon emissions, which is fantastic. That's great. And wood energy can help them because, it's essentially carbon neutral, especially if you're able to source it very close to your facility. So, it has multiple benefits for the facility owner. There's just a lot of, I believe some facility owners in Maryland are pretty resistant to switching over because, it's seen as a new technology here, which is kind of funny since it's one of the oldest.
Right.
But another one of our projects actually is going to be taking facility managers, policymaker, environmental groups up to tours in Vermont and New Hampshire. So, hopefully that will kind of ease them in and show them, this isn't some brand new or scary technology, and it is extremely clean. So, we're trying on multiple different facets to bring them in.
Yeah. So you obviously resistance, from those groups could be a potential barrier. Are there any other barriers when it comes to wood energy within Maryland?
Mm-hmm. Well, as I mentioned before, a lot of our loggers, they unfortunately had to move to a different state, or they're not really confident about working in Maryland anymore. They had to switch professions. So so we're going to have to build essentially that industry back up. Don't get me wrong, there's still lots of wonderful loggers out there, but to meet the demands of our forest being managed, and that's actually going to be another aspect of this study. We're going to see how much wood needs to be managed, and then who needs to manage them, and how many different either companies or individuals, essentially what is going to be the manpower needed. So that's going to be one very vital role of this study.
Mm-hmm. So if someone wants to submit an RFP or find out more information, how do they do that?
Yeah, so you can go to the Maryland Clean Energy Center's website, which is mdcleanenergy.org/resources/RFP-bulletin-board. So I'm not sure if you all are able to post this link on your website, but
we can.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Yeah, so you can find it on our website, and it will give you just find it there, and you can submit the RFP to myself and our procurement officer, Ben Rupert. and we are expecting to have a pretty fast turnaround for this. If you have any questions about this, they're going to be due November 4th. Proposals are due November 11th, and the anticipated award date is going to be November 21st.
Okay.
So, because we want to get started on this as soon as possible. And I think, there's going to be a lot of work on it. So we just want to get it started.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Maura, I think this discussion has been very insightful. Is there anything else that you want to add?
I think we covered most of it. I think you had some great questions. I really appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much. I think then we'll just wrap it up with that. Again, thanks so much for chatting with us today about wood energy in Maryland, Maura, and we definitely look forward to, following your guys' progress. Maybe we'll have to chat again sometime in the future.
Yeah, great. That would be fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
You bet. And to our listeners, thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time.